Hello, it's your girl Kathleen, aka Kathleen, aka Sorin, and we are back with another episode of Sorin Soapbox. Yes! Here on Sorin Soapbox is where we rant about all things love, life, and the pursuit of music. Get into it, get into it. If you are a first-time listener on this episode, I welcome you. If you are a returning listener, welcome back, welcome back. Alright, I am excited for today's episode. We have an interesting topic we're going to talk about today. It's actually a story time. So, I am looking forward to sharing a very interesting story of my life. But before I do, as always, please follow your girl on the socials. This episode is actually inspired by one of my tweets from last week, so you should definitely follow me on the socials. That's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. My handle is Shameless Listo on all platforms. That's ShamelessLisZto. Come chat with me, talk to me, tell me what you thought about today's episode or any previous episode. I'd love to talk to my listeners and find out who you are, where you're listening from, and just to get to know you guys. Alright, now, before we actually jump into today's episode, as I was doing in last season, we were having a Sorin's life update. So basically, I just kind of give you guys a rundown of what's been going on in my life, what I've been up to, ceci, cela, etc, etc. So the last episode, I basically said I just started my vacation. Well, my vacation has come to a close. And your girl is back at work. Honestly, 2.5 weeks is not long enough for a summer vacation. I'm gonna be honest, but that's just how my school is set up. We have like a short summer vacation, but then a super long winter vacation. So I'm not exactly mad, but your girl don't really be out in the winter time. So, I don't really know what I'm gonna do about that. But this particular year, for my winter vacation, I am trying to go home. So hopefully, despite the sky falling, I'm able to go home, be with my family, my friends, and catch up, because I haven't been back home in about 3 years now, so I am looking forward to that. Now, as far as my summer vacation though, it was litty. I'm not gonna lie to you. I visited a couple of cities here in Korea. I went to Gwangju and got to see a couple palaces and art villages. I did visit the Hope statue and the K-pop street, which basically displays all of the famous K-idols who are from Gwangju. So such as J-Hope, I believe Jenny's from Gwangju. There's a member from Monster X who's from Gwangju. So it just was basically a dedication to all of the K-idols from that town. So it was really cool. Then I went to my very first festival called Water Bomb Festival. And Water Bomb Festival is pretty big here in Korea because it happens in all the major cities. Seoul, Busan, Daegu, Incheon, Suwon. And a lot of the major artists perform at this festival. So there was Jay Park, there was Loco, there was Gray, there was Jessie, there was Hyolyn in some cities, there was Hyuna in some cities. So there was CK, there was PH1. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I hope I'm not messing it up. But just overall, there was a lot of artists. Some well-known, some not so well-known. But overall, it was a good, roster. So I went to the festival. Actually, it was my first festival, and I went by myself. So that was actually quite interesting because, as y'all know, I've been basically traveling and doing things solo, but going to a festival, like basically a concert setting on my own, was a bit intimidating. I'm not gonna lie to you. But I had so much fun. I mainly went because I wanted to see Gray and I wanted to see CL. And bruh, Gray was fine as I don't know what. That man was chef's kiss, okay? Now, granted, I think he's only like 5'6", 5'7". I'm 5'4", so he's a little on the short side, but that's okay. That man is fine. like music producer, music artist. I mean, he's just a genius. And just seeing him come out there, oh my God, I was just blown away. But the main event, because mind you, I was there from 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. I'm going to do a whole separate episode on a story time on the Waterbomb Festival. But Gigi Bay L came out on that stage and I lost my damn mind. You hear me? Like, I was having an outer body experience because I was looking at her like, is she real? Is she real? I mean, she killed it. I've loved CL honestly since the days of 21. And she actually is the one that got me back to blogging and podcasting because I had stopped blogging for like a couple years. Then when she dropped Spicy and the Alpha album, I was like, oh no, I have to do a review on this. So CL means a lot to me as a female rapper, as a female artist in general. Just her evolution in her music career. Like, when I tell you I have nothing but love and respect for this woman, so to see her on the stage and just own it and kill it, bruh, it made my whole entire night. It made the fact that I could no longer feel my feet worth it. So I'm gonna do a whole separate episode about Waterbomb because, child, I seen more tetas and booty than I really wanted to see in my entire lifetime. Like, I know people say Korea is real conservative about how they dress, that they're real modest. Petite, child, I didn't see none of that, but I digress. Anyways, I had a really good time at the Waterbomb Festival. The week after that, I mean, it was like the floodgates of heaven opened up because Korea was basically underwater. Seoul specifically. I mean, if you look online and type Seoul, Korea flood, there's like images everywhere. It was so bad. I thought Noah was going to come with his ark and pick people up because it was ridiculous. I mean, there's an image floating around of this man sitting on top of his car. They done made memes about this man. It was that bad. I was glad I don't live nowhere near Seoul because it was horrible. Absolutely horrible. Thank God, I mean, for the most part, I think there was only a few casualties from the flooding. But overall, that whole week, it was nothing but thunderstorms. And that's just because summertime is also monsoon season. So it's kind of, they go hand in hand, essentially. But overall, that's been my summer vacation. Outside of that, I'm back in school, chilling, watching my little Netflix. I did just watch The Untold, The Girlfriend That Didn't Exist, the Manti Te'o story. All I'm gonna say is if you haven't seen it, please watch it because that story's crazy. I remember seeing the Manti Te'o memes saying that, oh, I'm Teoing, but I didn't know what that meant at the time because I think it came around 2012, 2013. So this is right as I was getting out of college, but I had no idea what the memes meant. Now, after seeing the Netflix story, I was like, nah, this man was done dirty. This man was done wrong. So I recommend, please watch it, because that joint was crazy. Anyways, I don't want to prolong this any further, but that's basically been what my life has been about. So now let's get into today's episode, today's story time. So today's episode was actually inspired by a series of things. So sometimes at random moments, I'll remember things like, you know, a past memory from my childhood or college will come to mind. I was scrolling through Instagram and I see some people are watching the Indian Matchmaker. You know, they're talking about Indian Matchmaker, or my sister's really into Love Island, or I think recently the news is about a couple on Love is Blind is getting a divorce. So in general, I was kind of thinking like, I think it would be interesting to get a matchmaker and see if maybe they could essentially match me with someone that kind of fits my life and I fit theirs. But the problem is I'm not really in that point in my life where I really want to do all that, but I just thought it would be kind of cool. I wonder what my life would look like if I ever decided to go on one of these dating shows or find a matchmaker. Because even though most of these dating shows I find cheesy, Love is Blind, season 1 anyway, because of Lauren and Cameron, I thought, okay, I could do that type of show. I could do that type of setting. Like if they brought it to Korea and they let foreigners also audition, that's the key. I probably would be interested in doing that. But also, like, the idea behind Indian Matchmaker, I thought was cool. So as I'm seeing this, I suddenly had like a flashback, like a That's So Raven moment, instead of in the future, just in the past. That, wait a minute, I had my friends try and match me with a guy. But the thing is, I didn't ask to be matched. They voluntold me that they matched me. Now, to preface, y'all already know, I don't really know too much about dating because growing up, I had l'école, la caille, l'église. L'école, school, la caille, house, l'église, church. That was my whole entire life. And so therefore, I really wasn't trying to date. I really wasn't trying to see guys because my parents basically told me, you don't need to be dating until after college. So that's where my head was at. And it's funny because the whole concept of matchmaking is part of Korean culture as well. Sogeting. There's, matchmakers in Korea. Sogeting is part of the culture where a friend of a friend decides to hook you up. And you kind of go on a couple of dates to see if there's any chemistry, if there's a spark, and then you go from there. So matchmaking is not new. It's very much embedded in a lot of cultures. So my story time, we about to get into how my friends decided to match me with this guy and set me up on a date, only for me to find out it was a promo for his event. Like, what? Child, it's ghetto, okay? But before we get into the story, the griot and the banan, aka the meat and potatoes, here are your church announcements. If you love my podcast and if you love my content, I need a favor from you guys. Head over to podchasers.com and give your girl a review, at least 4 or 5 stars, and write 1 or 2 lines about why you love Sorin Soapbox. It would mean a lot to me as a small content creator who's trying to grow her platform. So again, if you love my podcast, if you love my episodes and my content, please head over to podchaser.com, type in your girl's podcast, Sorin Soapbox, SORIN apostrophe S SOAPBOX, and again, leave your girl a star review as well as 1 to 2 sentences about why you love my podcast. Again, it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. That is the end of our church announcements. So now let's get into today's story. Now, boom, check it. There's been 2 instances where my friends voluntold me and tried to match me with the guy. Not really considering my personality, not really considering like who I am as a person, but just, oh, she likes this, he likes this, I think they would be a good match. And child, when I say disaster is on the horizon, disaster is on the horizon. The very first time my friends decided to matchmake me was, I want to say around college or maybe like right after. I really don't remember because that's how much I just blocked it out of my memory. But these were like basically my church friends. So a lot of us are trying to find our, as the church culture says, Boaz, and meet a guy that we feel like, oh, we can spend the rest of our lives with. Me, I just felt like men deserve less, if I'm being honest. And I just wasn't in that season of really trying to talk to anybody, date anybody. Like, that just wasn't in my mentality. But my roommate and this other girl, they worked at our university as far as like the academic advisor's office, or basically like they help students with their transcripts and signing up for classes, etc. My friend, we're going to call her Keisha, my friend Keisha, she decides to come to me and say, hey, there's a guy at our office. I think you guys would be a perfect match. I think you guys should go on a date. And I was like, okay, so tell me about him. She tells me his name. Now, for the sake of his podcast, I'm changing everybody's name because I don't want nobody coming for me saying, oh, you put me on blast. Now, if you remember the story in real time, then okay, but I'm not using nobody's real name. So Keisha comes to me telling me this man, Peterson is what we're going to call him because that's your typical Haitian name. There's not one Haitian man that doesn't have the name Jean, Peterson, Mackinson. I mean, it just goes on. But anyways, so she's like, oh, his name is Peterson. He's so nice. He's so kind. He DJs on the side. He loves music. And I just feel like because you're both Haitian and you love music that you guys would have a lot in common. Now, sidebar. I appreciate the fact that she wanted to hook me up with another Haitian. But I don't do Haitian men. I really can't. Now, I say that and God could play a cruel joke on me and I end up with a Haitian man. But just Haitian men have a very particular mentality when it comes to dating. Essentially, they want their women to be slaves and their mother, essentially. And I'm not either. I'm not your slave and I'm not your mother. I'm not trying to raise no man. And a lot of Haitian men have this mentality that you're going to cook, clean, take care of house, even though I work and you work, but that's what a woman's supposed to do. And there's some other toxic traits about them as well, such as they be having multiple families, they can't be faithful, yada, yada, yada. The list goes on. Anyways, so she's like, oh, he's Haitian. I feel like you guys would have a lot to talk about and the fact that y'all both love music. Okay. Love that she considered me in that, but I have a lot of layers about me and I don't feel like she considered that, but we'll go with what she thought would be a great match. So I'm like, okay, so what's up? Like, did you show him my picture? She said, yeah, he saw a picture of you. I think you guys would be great. He said you were cute. Mind you, I never saw a picture of him, which that should have been my first sign. How you going on a date with somebody but you don't know what he looked like? That was my fault. That was my fault. Anyways, I digress. So the plan was, because our town was throwing basically a town festival where a lot of small businesses and big businesses too would get to come out. There would be like food trucks and there was going to be games and activities for the kids. I think there was going to be like a horse riding carnival area. There was going to be live performances, just like a whole festivity basically in a downtown area. Now, my friends and I had already talked about wanting to go to this event. So the fact that he wanted to take me out on this date to the same event kind of worked in my favor because I'm like, one, it's public. Two, my friends were planning to go with me. So if I needed to, mayday, bail out, I'm good. And then at the same time, if I felt like he was a creeper, I was able to kind of navigate through the crowd and just vamonos is basically what I was thinking. Because y'all know I'm a true crime aficionado. Creepy men is a no-no for me. And if I met him and I thought he was creepy, I could just blend into the crowd and disappear into the night. That's basically what my mentality was. So she's like, okay, he wants to meet you at that event. We'll all go together at like 7 or 8 o'clock. Petite, bon Dieu. Child, let me tell you. I get cute. I get dressed. My friends are trying to hype me up because they're like, oh my God, finally, you going on this date because you are so picky. I get it. I'm picky. But you know what? I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. And that's the thing. A lot of times women get shamed for being picky and particular. And I realized I'm not picky and I'm not particular. I have standards. There's just certain things that I expect from a man. I'm asking a lot because I want my man to be emotionally intelligent. I'm asking a lot because I want this man to have a healthy communication style. I don't think that's asking for too much. Now, as far as like height and all of that, sure, but I'm pretty short. As I said, I'm 5'4". I never go into a situation thinking, oh, I want a 6-foot man. That's unrealistic to me. There's a small percentage of men in this world that are actually over 6 feet. So I've never expected a man to be 6 feet. I've never expected a man to be rich, but I do want someone who's financially stable. That's a big difference. Meaning you have disposable income, but you also have money in your savings account. So that way your bills are paid, but you still have money to have fun. These are the things that I demand. I don't want somebody who's rich. I want somebody who's financially stable. There's a big difference. I know what I do for myself and how I take care of myself. I know how much money I spend on myself. And if you come into my life and think that I'm going to cut this out and cut that out, no, you gotta go. It's not working that way. So I don't like the idea that people say I'm picky or particular. The idea is I have standards. My standards may not match your standards, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that I have to change mine just because you're fine with these particular attributes about a man and I'm not. Anyways, moving on. We go to the event, and I mean, it's like the whole town is there. There's, like I said, live music. There's all the kids are out, so they're doing the little kids carnival. There's like so many food trucks. And as a foodie, I was trying to go to each and every one. You hear me? You hear me? So finally, Keisha, my friend, introduces me to Peterson. This is when I knew things were going south. She's like, oh, he's over there. Like, go introduce yourself. Why I go introduce myself, and I'm like, hi, my name is Kathleen. Y'all, you know what this fool did? This man introduced himself by his stage name. I'm sorry, what? He introduced himself with his DJ name. He was like, oh yeah, my name is DJ PT. I'm sorry, what? Excuse me? That's when I should have known this was not going to go the way I thought it was. So because I had already jumped ahead and introduced myself, my friend Keisha comes around. She's like, oh, Peterson, this is Kathleen. Kathleen, this is Peterson. So she gives me his full name. But me introducing myself to him, this man gives me his stage name. The hell is going on? Am I in the Twilight Zone? What is happening? So she kind of just leaves us to get to know each other and talk. And the man is talking about the show the entire time. I'm like, what? Like, he's just like, yeah, you know, like, isn't this event fun? You know, we're about to do sound check and this and that. I was like, sound check? He's like, oh yeah, you know, I'm DJing the artists that are coming out today. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. And I was like, yeah, you know, Keisha told me, like, you're a DJ and you're into music and stuff like that. And I was like, so what brought you to this town? Because the town that we lived in was a college town. Nobody was from that actual town. Like, if you've ever lived in a college town, you know no one's from the actual town. So I was like, oh, what brought you to this city? And he was just like, oh, you know, I came here because of da-da-da-da-da, whatever. But then he's like, oh, by the way, I can't really talk much because I got to do sound check. And I'm like, okay, cool, do your thing. Like, we can just talk after. He's like, oh, I don't really have enough time to talk after, but I just want y'all to enjoy the show. You know, enjoy tonight's events. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? He's like, yeah. He's like, my company and the town, we set this whole event up. I'm like, oh, really? That's pretty, you know, again, I'm faking the funk at this point. I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to figure out, what did my friend drag me into? What did I get myself into? Why am I here? What's happening? And I was like, oh, so what does your company do? Like, do you guys like bring in bands from like out of town, different places? He was like, yeah, you know, we put together events and shows. I was like, oh, so it's like an event planning company. He's like, yeah, kind of like that, but like more with music. And I was like, oh, cool. You know, I'm into music. I do this, I do that. And he's like, oh, cool, that's nice. Like, basically diminished what I did because it wasn't at the level that he did, because in that town, I found out later that he had more of a name for himself versus somebody like me that was like doing event planning for an independent artist, nowhere close to what he was doing. But apparently I was a small fry compared to what he was doing. And I was like, oh, okay, this sounds cool. Like, this sounds fun. And he's like, yeah, so, you know, you guys enjoy the event because we planned this with, like, the city. So, like, have fun, enjoy the food. And I was like, wait, is this your event? He was like, yeah, basically. He's like, you know, we put it together with the town. And I'm like, oh, so Keisha said this was a date. And he kind of had this weird smile. He was like, I mean, it is a date. Like, I wanted you and your friends to come out and have a good time and check out the show. And it was at that moment I knew this was some bull. This was some straight up bull. I was just like, okay, I got it. Cool. And my friends were like behind me, like in the distance. And I kind of just looked at them and gave them a signal, like, I'm ready to go. So my friend Keisha comes over. She's like, oh, so y'all have a good time? And I was just like, yeah, we having a good time. And she's like, oh, well, y'all two should exchange numbers, like, whatever. And I was just like, yeah, about that. So she presses that we should exchange phone numbers. I'm trying to not be rude and cuss this man out in front of my friend because she's unaware of what's going on right now. She still thinks this is a date. She still thinks that we're having a good time because we've been talking for a good 10 minutes. And she's like, oh, y'all should exchange phone numbers and then y'all should walk around. And he's like, oh, I can't really walk around right now. Like, I got to set up and things like that. And he's like, oh, but I'll give you my number. I'm like, okay. I take my phone out so he can put his number into my phone. Y'all. You know what this man does? He hands me his business card. He hands me his business card. It says, yeah, you should call me, the next time you need a DJ or you have an event you'd like me to play at. Ninja, what? I said, you know what? I'm done with this. I said, I can't. I was like, you can keep your business card. And I just walked off. And my friend Keisha was like, what was that about? I said, this wasn't a date. I said, he just wanted to invite us all to come out to this event so we can check out the artist and they could just bring as many people to come. Even though the event was free, but it wasn't really like a ticket sales. He just wanted us to come out and see the artist to perform, see him DJ. He just wanted an audience. That's why he invited us and called it a date. I was like, well, and the thing is, I don't even know if he called it a date. Because my thinking is, maybe she called it a date and he was just like, yeah, sure. But it wasn't a date. It was literally a promo for his DJing. It was literally him wanting to get as many people to come to his event as possible, and he just wanted an audience for his show. Nothing more, nothing less. This man had no attraction to me. This man had no interest in me. This man wanted nothing to do with me. He just wanted publicity. He just wanted fans. And I was just like, bruh. So my roommate at the time was just like, wait, so it's not a date? I said, no, girl, ain't no date. I said, this man just wanted us to come out so we can watch the performance, we could eat the food, we could have a good time, which I was going to have a good time regardless, no matter what. But I said, the date itself ain't no date. I said, it's not real. It's a figment of all of our imaginations. I said, so y'all got me all dressed up and ready to come out here for nothing. I mean, obviously not nothing. I was going to come out anyway, but I'm the type of person, I change my mind at the last minute. You ever be like, the past you made plans and then future you regrets it later? Like, why did I make those plans in advance? Knowing good and well, the future you was going to cancel. That'd be me sometimes. That's why I don't like agreeing to things in advance, because it'd be the day of and I'm like, I regret agreeing to going. I regret, saying, oh yeah, girl, I'll be there. Knowing good and well, I'd rather stay home. But then at the same time, I'm like, dang, how come I don't go out like that? Because you cancel all the daggone time, girl. The fact of the matter is, I still had a good time. I had a great time with my friends. We walked up and down. We saw some other college friends. We saw some, not his live performances, but other live performances. I had a lot of food. I ate a lot of food. And then I went home. But I really looked at my friend Keisha. I said, girl, don't do that again. Do not do that again. Because I feel like if you're going to match anybody with somebody, like if you're going to match your friends with someone, you should probably vet them out first. You should probably, because I really don't think they were good friends, if I'm being honest. Like, from what I learned, they were coworkers, but they weren't friends, which isn't the same thing. Like 9 times out of 10, you're not really friends with your coworkers. You may be amicable with your coworkers. You may like go out to lunch. You may have a couple like after work dinners, but the reality is 9 times out of 10, you don't really know your coworkers. Now, I have had some coworkers that turned out to be really good friends, but that's few and far between. I really just don't think she knew this guy to know his character enough to think that his character would have been aligned with mine. Because in that instance, I was like, yeah, it's not going to work. This man was about business at the end of the day. And in any other scenario, I'm not mad about that. I'm not angry about that. Be about your business, chase the bag, get your coins. But sir, don't play with my time, and don't play in my face. Don't make it sound like you wanted me to come out for a date, and in reality, you just wanted fans. You just wanted an audience. And I would have respected it more to just say like, oh, I'm not really looking, I'm not really trying to date, but you and your friends can just come out and, catch the show. I would respect that a lot more than you just lying. So that was a very interesting setup, blind date, essentially. I've had another one, but that turned out to be a lot creepier. I probably will save that for a future episode because, child, I've just had really bad run-ins with men. If I'm being honest, I've had just some weird, awkward, uncomfortable run-ins with men. And y'all be wondering why, y'all being men, be wondering why like women react to y'all the way that we do. Because y'all be weird. Y'all be weird and y'all do weird stuff. I'm not saying there aren't weird women out there. I'm not saying that women don't do weird things, but some of y'all just, I don't know what it is. But with that being said, I think it's best that I just don't have my friends set me up on blind dates, or with any man for that matter. And I really haven't had anyone set me up with a guy since, and I'm okay with that. My best friend, she just prays. She's just like, I'm gonna just pray that a guy that fits everything that you're looking for comes your way. My best friend's husband, on the other hand, he be looking out for me. He be like, oh, I met this Jamaican dude at my job and he seems real cool. I feel like y'all two would connect. Or there's this guy at my church. I feel like he's into music and he loves video games and anime and he loves the Lord and this, that, and the third. My best friend's husband, though, he be looking out for you, girl. I appreciate that. We haven't found anybody yet, obviously, but he be looking out for me. I appreciate that. Because I'd be like, my friends, y'all be setting me up with people and they be trying to stalk me after the fact. What's wrong with y'all? Y'all not vetting these people. Y'all are not vetting these people. But anyways, I'm going to get off that rant. Alright, so with that, I am going to wrap up today's episode. If you enjoyed today's episode or any of my previous episodes, please let your girl know. Hit me up on all the socials, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. My handle is Shameless Listo. That's ShamelessLissZto. Let me know. Have you ever been, set up on a blind date, or did your friends ever match you with a guy? Tell me the story. Was it a good experience? Was it a bad experience? Was it a horrible experience? I'd love to hear your matchmaking story or your blind date stories. I want to see how interesting they can get. So hit me up on the socials and let me know your matchmaking story. But also, of course, make sure you head over to Podchaser and leave your girl a star review, as well as 1 to 2 lines about why you love my podcast. So again, head over to Podchaser and look up Sorin Soapbox. That's SORIN''S*SOAPBOX. Again, leave your girl 4 or 5 stars and a couple of lines about why you choose this podcast. Alright, now I may sprinkle out a couple of other stories throughout this season, because when I tell you I got stories, I got stories. I have stalker stories, I have stories where I won a car and lost a car all within a 24 hours, only to shortly lose the keys to my own car and then total my car upon refinding my keys. Child, my life is interesting, I'll tell you that much. But we won't get into that today. So with that being said, your girl is off her soapbox. See ya!